When Beijing got the Olympics in 2008, they basically set several guidelines for the development of the Olympics. And one of them is that they wanted it to be the most green Olympics ever. So from the very beginning, China had big ambitions to make the Olympics very sustainable, very green. And then sort of in response to that, DOE has had several missions to China, and I was fortunate enough to be in on it. And the outgrowth of that was DOE and the Beijing Science and Technology Commission came up with 10 working groups, out of which there were 2 that I was involved in, which were on buildings. One was to do a green building rating system that was done by Tsinghua, and the other is to do a demonstration green building. One thing I have to warn you, I wasn't really involved in the design of the Olympics or even the urban planning of the Olympics, because that was actually done by a consultant in Australia, PTW. At the point that I got involved in, it was mostly to help them certify that the Olympic Village, the whole village, was green. And for that, of course, since we're from the US, we proposed to do a lead rating of it. And then the other thing I did contribute to was halfway through the project, the developer. You know, the Olympics was very sort of commercialized. As a friend of mine, Rob Watson, said, it's been franchised out. So the Olympic Village was actually built by a development company that was set up for the Olympic Village, and it's called Huang, National Olympic. So it's you could think of it as a prestige project that has government support, but it's actually a commercial project. So one thing that we did was a lead rating, and the other thing was halfway through, the developers said they wanted to do a landmark building in the middle of the Olympics that they wanted to have as a zero energy building. This building is a small building that would be used as an athlete's sort of recreational area during the games, and then after the games, it becomes the kindergarten for the development, just as the development itself becomes a high-end residential area. The village was, had a lot of green, sustainable design practices, and we rushed to do the lead rating, but we actually, and we had a lot of support from the USGBC to do the green rating, because we had to get it done before the Olympics. And we finally managed to do that by July, you know, just 1 month before the Olympics. And it was rated LEED Gold under the ND system, which is the neighborhood design criteria, which was actually in pilot at that point. We should just go on to the micro-energy building, which is that zero energy building that the developer wanted built in the middle. And the name is also kind of curious. At one point, the chief engineer, I mean, in China, the sort of the top technical person on all these projects is the chief engineer. That's a title that we don't have in the US, but in China, it's the chief engineer, 总工. He said he wanted to do this green zero energy building, but they can't really make it zero energy because in China, there's no stipulation that the utility company buys back the electricity generated on site. So therefore, he said it would be a lie to call it zero energy. So therefore, I'll call it micro-energy, because micro sounds good. See, well, for those of you who speak Chinese, you can also understand the joke. He says, I don't want to call it low energy, which is 低能. 低能 in Chinese means retarded. So I'll call it 微能耗建筑, which sounds really cool. You know, it's like Microsoft. It's micro-energy. So we ended up calling it micro-energy building. And the other thing that he said that I thought I would never hear from a developer was that he said, I wanted to build a building that's like the Sydney Opera House, a real landmark building. And if it costs a little bit more, I don't care. You know, I thought I would never hear that from a developer. So this is a drawing of the building. It's a small 3-story, 3,000 square meter building. As I said, it's the athletes sort of lounge during the games. And then afterwards, it becomes the kindergarten. You'll be sort of donated to the development as a kindergarten for the development. It has, being almost an experimental building, it has photovoltaics on top. It just has a whole laundry list of sustainable design practices, photovoltaics, wind, et cetera. And it has a very innovative HVAC system that was proposed by Tsinghua that uses things that I've only read about in the US, but it's never been tried anywhere else, which is it has a seasonal thermal storage, which means you make ice during the winter, and then you use the ice during the spring and early summer. And then my part of it is DOE provided me to do the design review and then to do the energy analysis. And also I was supposed to contact US vendors of green technologies, but that part didn't go through because there was so much interest by Chinese vendors to provide their products, highlight them at the building, that the developer said, it's too complicated to get foreign vendors to contribute, and so that part never went through. So as I mentioned, it has a lot of innovative strategies. This is definitely a landmark building. It's not a really replicable building. It has radiant heating and cooling, has solar hot water, ground source heat pump, seasonal thermal storage. One of my complaints to the chief engineer was that this building may be too complicated to operate afterwards. But yeah, we thought that each component might work, but we're really not sure. You might need a PhD in mechanical engineering to make everything work together. But anyway, we went ahead and did it because that's what the chief engineer wanted. And then my little part of it was I did DOE-2. Actually, I used EnergyPlus. The DOE there refers to Department of Energy. We did EnergyPlus analysis of the building. It has light shells. We helped them optimize the light shells, select the window glass, and looked at the daylight qualities, and we looked at the airflow through the atrium. Even though it's a small 3,000 square meter building, it actually has a central atrium. And we made some recommendations. We thought they didn't put enough emphasis on the lighting system. It was pretty conventional, so we said you could get a lot more by improving the lighting system, which they did. And then we also made some recommendations on the windows and the building thermal mass. Yeah, we made some other recommendations. I had to make myself useful. And I've given previous presentations about this building, and I keep saying before the building was finished, and I kept saying this is one project with a really ironclad finish date. It has to be done before the Olympics, right? And the Olympics was August 2008, and we were able to finish it in April, so we did manage to make it. And then during the games, DOE had this great idea that Treasury Secretary Paulson could go there and award the lead plaque. And so for that, I got another free trip to Beijing. And this is a picture of Paulson with the honorary mayor of the Olympic Village, Chen Zhili, handing out the lead plaque. That's just to show you that I was actually there. Yeah, thank you.